This will be a day long remembered. Now I am the master.
Welcome to another episode of Legends and Theories, and welcome to a video I've been excited to do for such a long time. My breakdown of the first trailer to Andor Season 2. So, I've done a breakdown in a while. I'm so excited for this. I cannot wait for the season to drop. It is just under 2 months away, so let's go straight into it. It seems to be with absolute chaos as we see someone who I'm assuming is Cassian walking down, and then we see this explosion on a planet I can't fully identify. I feel like this could be the Gorman Massacre, or I don't think this is Ferrix. Doesn't really look like it, but I think that this might be the Gorman Massacre, which causes Mon Mothma to go and officially speak out against the Empire and join the rebellion. Obviously, she's doing this all behind scenes up to this point, but this is a breaking point where she can no longer just stay in the Senate. And from what I saw, is a really interesting theory is that it was actually Luthen who would be behind this entire attack, and he is the cause of this, which is something to push the Empire and rebellion into a further conflict so they could eventually overthrow the Empire. Honestly, that'd be a really interesting thing to see, but I'm not fully sure. It's still a really interesting scene, though, to look at, and we're literally only, I think, like 2 or 3 seconds into this trailer. We see more chaos unfold as someone who's in shadow, so I can't tell if it's Cassian or not, sabotaging a speeder. And honestly, this looks just so cool. It looks like it's the same planet as before, so who knows, maybe that does go into this, honestly, just really awesome theory, where we have the rebels just, under Luthen's command, going in, doing an extreme amount of sabotage. But, yeah, honestly, it just looks really, really awesome.
We're in a war.
We then get to hear our first a little bit of Luthen saying we're in a war, and it's interesting. We see someone walking. I don't think that's Cassian. I have a feeling like it could be Luthen, or it could be one of the other characters. I can't fully tell who it is, but I just have a feeling that it is not Cassian, and I'm interested to see who it is. We also get our first look at Yavin 4 and Cassian on the planet, which is it's honestly just really cool to see this planet back again, and it has all of its interesting uses throughout Star Wars stories, especially in the EU, where it is the location of Luke's first Jedi Academy. So yeah, honestly, just really cool to see, and let's continue on.
You wanna fight?
We then get our first shot of what I'm assuming is the same planet based on stuff later in the trailer where we have Cassian asking someone if he wants to fight, and then we see this field where stormtroopers begin to open fire. I am guessing it is the same planet because we later see the TIE fighter prototype that Cassian steals, him opening fire on these fields, so it looks like it's basically the same uniform he's going to wear when he goes and flies the TIE prototype. I don't know which fighter that's supposed to be. I think it is a new one, although I don't know every single TIE fighter. You'd have to wait for a breakdown with someone who honestly just really knows Star Wars ships, so if you want to know that specifically, if it's existing type of fighter, I would check out, I think Eckhart's Ladder would most likely be the person to be able to go and break down what type of ship that is. But personally, I don't know. And, well, it's just going to be interesting to see.
Or you wanna win?
We then get a casting continuous statement saying, or do you want to win? And as I said, this seems to be more or less the same uniform he had on, and this TIE prototype is firing upon the field, so under my best guess that this is going to be set on the same planet, just based on context clues in this trailer, since they really do make a lot of sense.
Last night and dream.
We get our first look at Saw Gerrera next, where an actual song does begin to play, and yeah, it was a little weird when they did Major Tom and Skeleton Crew, although that really fit this. And honestly, while I didn't know this was a real song at first, I was looking around at some places and found the link to the original song, and it was a relatively, from what I could see, unknown song. The video was posted on YouTube like 7 years ago, and this was like 20, 30 minutes after the trailer dropped. There was only like 70 comments on them on this, and there was a good amount of those that was talking about Andor specifically. But yeah, honestly, it's gonna be interesting for that song to be getting a lot more traction now because of Andor. And then also looking at this, it's really interesting because we're gonna most likely see how Saw Gerrera got injured, and this feels like a really similar shot to something he would have done in Rogue One. So I don't fully know what's going on with him, but it's definitely gonna be interesting to see.
Let the world turn around.
And then, well, we also get a bunch of just praise for the series by critics, and well, they don't really mention any response by fans, although it was overwhelmingly positive for basically everyone that I feel like was at least able to appreciate it. I don't want to be kind of offending anyone, but yeah, I just feel like the biggest complaint is I've seen from this is it doesn't feel like Star Wars, which I mean, I feel like if you're only looking at the superficial stuff with it, of oh, it doesn't have lightsabers or you have the Force. That's really the only thing where it doesn't feel like Star Wars, where everything else, tones and everything, just absolutely incredible. And yeah, I think they're allowed to take a victory lap at this to talk about how beloved this series was, how well written it is, because that's just the main feat of it. I absolutely love this series, and I'm gonna point out I'm probably gonna be rewatching this. I know I'm rewatching this season at least, probably 3 times with just within its first initial month or months of releasing, where I'll be watching at least on my own once, and 2 other times with at least 2 different people in my family because I just absolutely love this series, and I just cannot wait to see it continue. But also probably watching season 1 at least once before the entire show comes out, so I don't have to weekend on that immediately, but I'm gonna try and watch it as soon as possible before the show begins because I'm just so excited. Also, as a side note, this looks like it's gonna be taken from Mon Mothma's daughter's wedding, but I'll talk about that more when we get the more odd scene from this trailer.
All our hopes have come to.
And then we get our first and what I think is only shot of Luthen in this entire trailer. Yeah, we heard his voice earlier, but this is the one and only time I think we get to see him in this trailer, and wow, I just love this character. So well written, and I'm probably gonna have a breakdown of his speech in the weeks leading up to Andor because man, that was just such an incredible speech last season. But there's just a 99.99% chance that this guy is going to be dead by the end of the season, and it's going to be tragic, and it's going to be a shame because we won't get to see at least $20 any more of Stellan Skarsgård in this role, but just such an incredible character. I love this character so much, and easily one of, if not the best written characters to ever come out of anything Star Wars, and just truly, truly amazing performance and everything. Cannot wait to see him in this season because I just love this character, and he's just the absolute best.
The revolution starts now.
We then get a look at what is most likely Coruscant, and we see Cassian and I don't remember her name, but it was woman who works in the shop with Luthen as they set off a bomb, and honestly, it's just perfectly timed with the song where they're saying the revolution starts now as he detonates the bomb, and this just looks so amazing. I just love the absolute complexity of this, and I feel like this is going to be some kind of assassination or staged event to cause the Empire to have an even more violent reaction, and I'm just so excited to see it. As I said, this everything we're doing with Luthen and him showing the darker side of rebellion is just honestly so interesting, and we definitely know that Cassian is not a good person and that he is willing to perform such just extreme dirty jobs to go and either force the Empire to have a more violent reaction or to be able to get sympathy to the rebel cause, and just absolutely incredible. And I'm so interested in the context behind this bombing because it looks like it's going to be just really, really interesting.
What a swell party this is.
We're going to get to see something that I honestly was really looking forward to, and it is the return of Orson Krennic. It's going to be really cool to see him because he had such a great presence in Rogue One. He was just extremely well received by fans, and I'm just really excited to see him here because it looks like they're going to be just really doing a good job to tie this into Rogue One. I do know that the season is supposed to end moments before the movie begins, and it's just going to be really interesting to see Krennic, who I think is going to have some pretty major appearances in this. We'll later see him at least appear in at least two other people's stories, and I'm surprised that he's in this trailer so much because there are some more major characters from season one that really don't have too much of an appearance in this. But still, it just looks really awesome to see him here. I'm so excited to see this character, and hopefully we could get a updated version of him in some toys because, yeah, I do have the original Lego version, but I honestly wouldn't mind adding him to a Black Series collection of mine, and it's just gonna be really awesome because this is just such a great character, and to see someone like him who was already compelling just get fleshed out more in this series where they're definitely willing to look at the more dark, shady, and more risky things that with characters. It's gonna be so interesting to see Krennic in this. And then we get this just interesting look at a small rebel group launching, and I don't know, this just doesn't feel like it's on Yavin. That's why I will pause here, and also because this just has such a long section of this trailer taken up to it. And well, I definitely agree with everything they're saying in this review by the Rolling Stones, and this just this looks truly incredible. I wonder what planet this will be set on because it makes me think of Aldani, but I don't know if they're going to go back there. Who knows? But it's just pretty interesting, and as I said, I don't think that this is Yavin. I think that this is a different planet because this doesn't really have that jungle aspect that Yavin has. It has just a more like grassy planet, which it's definitely gonna be interesting to see here. And then we get this interesting shot of I don't recognize her from the previous season, so I think she is a new character, but who knows, maybe this is Cassian's sister. A character that was teased, although was heavily implied to have died. But yeah, honestly, it is. It's pretty interesting. And then just for a more fun, dumb theory, something that I have no confidence in being actually true, and was just more of a joke I left on another video, was that Deidre's gonna be revealed to be his sister, but that would just be it'd be a dumb reveal and something I wouldn't expect for a show written as well as this. So just more of a joke theory, but who knows if I'm right. You have it right here that I said it, and that if it is that I was just joking about the fact that I didn't think it was real. But if it is, then yeah, I was totally confident for the fact that this was just a joke theory. So either way, I'm right. And then we get to see his name is Brasso, and he's being held back by stormtroopers on this one planet that we see earlier with the prototype. So honestly, it could be interesting that this could be the planet where all the people from Ferrix have relocated to. The Empire has shown up, and Cassian goes there basically outside of the Rebellion's wants to go and help well, the people he was close to. And honestly, that'd be really interesting to see, but I'm not fully confident on that being what happens. And it could just be that Brasso has also joined the Rebellion, which would also be interesting to see. We then get to see what looks like some kind of ISB enforcement squad, most likely going to maybe arrest Luthen, and maybe that's where that scene earlier comes from. And they blew up Luthen's shop basically to cover all evidence, and that's because Luthen was exposed as the person they're calling Axis. But yeah, honestly, it looks like one of the people there is Deidre's assistant. So that could go well into the fact that the place gets blown up, and we have an important enough character to be there to motivate the Imperials while not killing off a main character at the time, so they are able to be motivated to go up against Cassian and the rest of the rebels even more. We then get a quick look at Deidre, but then we get the probably most interesting scene of probably this entire trailer, which is Orson Krennic at Mon Mothma's event where we see the one guy, I believe that's the one that she has to have her daughter marry his son, basically just to cover her tracks. But it's interesting that Krennic is here, and he's alongside two, at least, ISB officers. And I can't tell because it's too blurry, but one of them looks like it might be Luthen's spy, but I don't know, maybe it's just because it's blurry. I can't see this guy's face fully, so maybe it's him, but there's a really good chance that it isn't. But yeah, honestly, I just really just to see why Krennic is here, and maybe this is gonna pay off the entire thing where Mon Mothma in the previous season was saying that it was all of parents' gambling debts is where all her funding and money has been going. So maybe they're going and she's just fully blaming everything on Perrin, and that's going to be an ultimate sacrifice she has to make where maybe Perrin gets executed, and then she still has to eventually reveal her true state as a rebel later on in the season. So yeah, I was just really interested to see this, and I am just so excited. One thing I want to mention now is they better release this one episode at a time, just so I get and everyone else gets just that time to enjoy just at least a quarter of a year with incredible Star Wars. So yeah, honestly, it is. It's just really great. And that quarter of the year would be including the Skeleton Crew release earlier at the beginning of the year. So yeah, I'm also looking forward to this absolute great feat that we're gonna have. Basically, the next few months of Disney Plus, just stacked with some shows that have the at least opportunity to be just truly incredible. With Daredevil starting next week, and then after that, Andor starting basically like the week after Daredevil ends. So yeah, honestly, I'm just really, really excited. We then get to see Cassie installing this just honestly interesting type prototype. It looks like sort of a mix between the TIE Interceptor and sort of like at least the body of the TIE Fighter Kylo Ren has in The Last Jedi. That's probably like the best comparison I can make to it, although it's not super close. But it's at least sort of what the body reminds me of, at least from the Lego set. But yeah, honestly, it's an interesting ship, and I do want to see what kind of ship this is, and I'm assuming it's some kind of prototype TIE fighter that is being developed. And then we get to see something that it feels odd for Star Wars, with this entire dancing sequence, but I'm assuming that this is from the wedding, but also it's gonna be interesting because I think this might be set on Chandrila, and I think that possibly outside of SWTOR, which basically has almost every planet that's at least mentioned as in a major role as a planet that the characters could go on, could be the first time we're actually seeing it. Again, probably outside of SWTOR because there's just such a long list of planets that you can explore on that game that I would not be surprised if Chandrila is one of them. But at least in terms of outside of that game, this is probably the first time we're ever seeing this depicted in anything outside of really just a book. Maybe a comic, but that's probably it. So it's going to be definitely interesting to see this planet where it definitely is important, especially since it is Mon Mothma's homeworld. But it also has important history with the Republic, and I believe is one of the founding planets of the Republic, just like Alderaan. And, well, we know what happened to that planet. We then get a cool shot of a fighter going into hyperspace, and then we also see Coruscant, where Mon Mothma and Perrin are meeting with that one. I'm pretty sure he's a gangster, either that or he's just a money launderer. But this is easily a different scene from the wedding. If you take a look at the scene I previously looked at, it's a lot more open. You can see a lot more plants, and you can see well sunlight and looking like it's not a city planet. While here you see this is very obviously Coruscant. You can see the tall buildings, and you can just really see everything that indicates this is Coruscant, while that other planet just did not look like it was part of Coruscant at all. Simple but effective shot of K2SO, and interesting enough for the theory that B2 becomes K2SO. I don't think we see B2 at all in this trailer, but I'm just really excited to see K2SO in this. Such a great character, probably the best one if you're looking at Rogue One alone, although Cassian has become such a better character after that because of this show specifically. But I'm excited to see him because he's going to be such a fun character. It'll be different in terms of tone because he is more of a comedic character where everything else in this is a lot darker, so it'll be an interesting contrast to really everything else. And then you get to see Stormtroopers charging, and then Cassian uniting with Bix, and I think this is also the first time we saw her in the trailer. All you don't see her face. The backside looks a lot like her, and it would make sense for Cassian to be reuniting with her. This is also set outside of that TIE fighter, and it looks like she has also joined the rebellion, so it's going to be interesting to see her in this and see what she does after the torture she had to endure last season. Because honestly, it's going to be interesting to see if she's going to go to more extreme lengths to get revenge on the Empire. We can then get to see the beginning of a riot, and then this sort of just, I don't know, I'm assuming it's some kind of like, I can't think of the vehicle's name right now, but it's some kind of construction vehicle that's used to just kind of like tear up roads. And just before that, we see some kind of riot. So it looks like it's the same planet. And again, I guess this is most likely Gorman, and is to be set just before or during the Gorman Massacre. But yeah, honestly, interested to see what kind of vehicle this is because it looks interesting. And then I'm going to take a look at Cyril, and I don't know, I feel like he's most likely going to be in the ISB in this season, and it's going to be interesting to see him. And it's also just kind of, that interesting kind of suit look he had on. So I'm not sure if he's going to be still at his previous job or if he is now at the ISB because can't fully see the people back there, but they do look like they are Imperial officers, although not ISB officers since ISB wears white. We get to see more of the riots or massacre, and then some more battles, most likely set inside of the facility, and then what looks like it could be Coruscant again, and having someone leading an attack there. But yeah, not too sure about this shot, and I don't recognize her at all, so do wonder who this is. I think it's just a really cool shot of the stormtroopers opening fire upon that TIE prototype, and it's definitely interesting looking at it from the front. We have seen a few clips of it, but I have to see just what this is going to be called because it definitely looks cool.
Remember this moment!
We have someone who I'm pretty sure was Cassian jumping over a table in a just massive shootout, so I'm really interested to see what happens with that. And it's going to be just pretty interesting to watch it overall because I'm just really, really excited to see what happens with this season. We then see some kind of interesting grenade go off, and then Bix fighting with some person in the Empire. I was gonna say ISB, but this isn't an ISB. It's just a normal Imperial officer. So definitely interested to see what the situation is behind this, and can't really tell where this is. Although I feel like it's at that one facility that has the TIE prototype in it. We then see this one guy, and I don't know. I feel like this is set on Cassian's homeworld, and I don't know. It just feels like that's what it looks like. Yeah, he looks younger, and it looks like that foresty setting. So I feel like there's a good chance that this is set on his homeworld, and they will look at what happened with his sister in this season.
You're here, you're right here, and you're ready to fight!
We then get to see a scene of Cyril's mom. Then after that, this is a scene of someone fighting, most likely at what I was saying is going to probably be the Gorman Massacre. And finally, we get to see Saw talking to somebody. I don't know why, I just feel like this might be the character of Bodhi, although it just doesn't seem to fit the context. So I don't know, I feel like we will see the character, and I just have a feeling like this is the character of Bodhi, although just to me the context doesn't make too much sense. We finally get our last look at Cassian in this, and this is definitely set on Coruscant, where this is probably the most seen image of the series so far, at least season 2, so I'm interested what the story is going to be like and why he's going to be on Coruscant, but I'm definitely excited to see that storyline, and Coruscant's my favorite planet in Star Wars, so I'm really excited to see more set there. But yeah, really excited for this. This did not reveal really anything about the plot, which I'm glad about. I can't wait to see what these. I think it's 4 story arcs are going to be about. It's either four. Yeah, it's 4 story arcs. One set in each year between the end of Andor season 1 and the start of Rogue One. So I'm really just excited to see what they do with this, and I want to know what you think. Please let me know in the comments, and I'll see you on the next episode of Legends and Theories. Thank you for watching this episode of Legends and Theories. Please subscribe, like the video, share the video, leave a comment, check out the video on screen, and may the Force be with you.